Hi everybody, and welcome to my channel. Welcome to another video with Gracie the Yogi. Before we get started, like and subscribe. Okay, let's jump straight into it. So we're going to be talking about Santosha, which is the yoga philosophy of contentment. And then we are also going to be talking about how that relates to Americans. Okay, I'm gonna be quite frank. Americans are, I would say the average American is like ruining the world. And before you go, oh my goodness, she's talking about it. No, Americans are never satisfied, it seems like. I'm gonna be honest. It seems like Americans have a huge problem with just being content and just being satisfied. I think if there was any yoga philosophy that Americans should practice, I think it would be Santosha, contentment, and aparigraha, which is letting things go. The amount of greed that the average person has here is astonishing, and it continues to replicate, and it goes from generation to generation and generation. And what really it is the fact that people here seem to never be satisfied. How much more do you need in order to feel satisfied? Is whatever you're aspiring to have to feel satisfied going to actually satisfy you? Is it worth it? Is whatever you're trying to do worth taking away your peace? The American dream, the house, the cars, the money, yet we see people with those exact things off themselves, and it happens, or get addicted to drugs, or do everything but make the world a better place. And I think the amount of consumerism that we have in America is part of what is ruining the country, the ruining the entire world. The amount of cars that we have, the amount of jewelry, the amount of everything. There's never enough Target. They have to put more Targets. They have to put more Walmarts. They have to put more Starbucks. Like, just the amount of consumerism, and it has turned everything into such a dark type of place. It's turned life into what it's not supposed to be. And it also makes me think that America is a big business. I drive down the streets and there's just businesses. It's full of businesses. And it just seems like movies, production, school, everything is consume. And one of the biggest ways is sex, drugs, money that they use to influence us to consume and be a part of their agenda and make them more money. And it's like, how much more Victoria's Secret and Bath and Body Works are you going to need to feel satisfied and content in what you have? You know what I mean? How many more cars do you need to feel content and feel like you have enough? And somebody who's not willing to go within and see what hole am I feeling by needing these things is not ready to actually understand. If they don't do that, which a lot of Americans haven't, we will ruin the world and then complain about the fact, oh my gosh, we have to work so much, we do this, we do that, when the whole time it's like we're making the problem by our mindsets, by our consumerism, guys. Like, okay, so I was watching a video and a lady was like, when she's manifesting, she goes to the garages where her car is parked and she imagines that all of the cars are hers. That's her form of manifesting. And at first I'm like, that's a good form of manifesting. And then Once I started thinking about it and practicing contentment, I realized that she was already in a nice car. And even if she wasn't, but she was already in a nice car. Why? Why? Why though? Why do you need to imagine that all of the cars are yours? Okay, and then all the cars are yours, and then what? You drive all of those cars yourself? I mean, just what is it for? Why? And Santosha Aprigraha helps you um ask yourself the question, why? Why do you desire, why do you need all of those cars when there are people in this world who need cars, when you can't drive all of them at once? um what is it for? Is it for status? Is it to is it symbolism for freedom and choice? Because if you want freedom, if you want choice, that's fine, that's valid. But greed, don't be greedy. And that's just the thing is, it made me kind of think like, when is it going to be enough? When is it going to be enough for Americans? When is it going to be enough? When are you going to have enough cars? When are you going to have enough money? It's always more. It's always more. It's, let me pick up this extra shift so that I can do this. Let me get this jewelry and this dress so that I can feel like, I'm important, in this world, so I can feel that way. And it's really a dopamine hit. It really gives you temporary satisfaction. But when you really look at it, a house is a house, a car is a car. And it is what it is. It doesn't make you freer. What makes you freer is your way of life in you. So stop chasing small dopamine hits to make you feel like you're important. If you feel like you need to do that to feel important, then there's something going on in the inside. And it could go all the way back to childhood, maybe even before. Here's another example, guys. When I was in middle school, I got some retro, well, it wasn't retro, it was some Jordans that I got. And they were like $80. I like them. My mom got them for me, okay? I wore them to school, and some guy was like, those Jordans not even retros. Those Jordans probably cost like $80. And he was wearing like probably like $200, $300 shoes. And at the time, being in middle school, going through puberty, caring what people think, it made me a little insecure. And it made me not want to wear those shoes anymore. Looking back on it, after I got to freshman year, I completely stopped caring about what people think, honestly. I smoked too much weed for that. But, yeah, so anyway, thinking back on that, that is exactly how, and especially the black community, that is exactly how they get us. That is exactly how they get us to be consumers. It's the mindset. It is the mindset. And it's crazy to me that somebody in middle school who don't pay for their shoes, they don't go to work for their mom pays for their shoes. And then you're hearing somebody says that, and your mom pays for your shoes. What does that mean? You shouldn't be happy about the shoes that you have because it's not $300, because it's not retro Jordan? Or is it better to do the ones that you like and be content in what you do have and not constantly need more? And so we have to teach our children this so that they don't ruin the world. Within the black community, I've noticed that if you go online, right, the stuff that the black community fantasizes is what makes us consumers, okay? And our need for, so for example, when you see famous people, you see the jewelry, you see the nails, you see the hair, you see the diamonds, you see the lifestyle. So a lot of people make these assumptions or conclusions that They see these people that they have this, that means that they're happy, that means that they're cool now, that means that they have made it. So they associate those things and wearing those things with how you feel, right? So it's an association. And in order to, instead of like going within and being content, a lot of us fall into that hole of doing it for validation, honestly. Doing it for validation, doing it for what people think, and instead of just being truthful, staying true to yourself and being content, that will get you further, and it'll get you a lot more peace and respect for yourself and respect for Mother Nature. And one of the indigenous principles is take what you need, but don't be greedy. When you go to a garden, you don't need to pick every last vegetable, you know, because then an imbalance of creation happens. You just need to take what you need, okay? So that is Santosha. That is contentment.